Hi, welcome back to the Sourcewell podcast. I'm here with Kelp.
Hi, I'm Kelp. Kelpie. By my friends, they call me that.
Um, sure. Rick. Yeah, he's currently cosplaying as that mosquito guy from Men in Black.
Near Kelp.
You just
Could have
went
said Jeff Goldblum.
No,
Could have
that's
said Jeff
my
Goldblum from The Thing.
You mean
no,
the
that's my
fly?
shitty.
The Fly, yeah.
That's my shitty Chris Motionless interpretation. Because every 5 seconds in a Motionless in White song, that's all they say. Open your fucking eyes.
Hey,
About the
Alex,
older
guess
stuff,
what?
yes? What?
I'm gonna immediately derail your podcast with a mini rant.
Oh, let me
You-
introduce myself at least. Hi, I'm
No.
Alex. All right, now you can.
What? I didn't want to let you be a part of this one.
Fucking
Okay,
rude.
so I would just like to say, right now, I fucking hate the Star Wars fan base so goddamn much. I posted a sarcastic video on TikTok, had my comments get flooded with people complaining about my sarcasm for 2 days, left a disclaimer in the... I posted this the same day Kenobi came out. I left a disclaimer 2 days later in the comments section saying, hey, I know this isn't actually wrong. I'm just making a joke. I'm just being sarcastic. And I am still getting comments complaining to this day.
Oh God.
So yeah, this whole episode is going to be kind of like an Obi-Wan Kenobi review. And it's funny because I was reading some of the comments and one was like calling you like a middle-aged man who doesn't understand Star Wars.
And
Oh,
I said,
Jesus
bruh,
Christ.
I'm 20. And he said, what's that have to do with anything?
It has to do with everything. Like, oh my God. If we take shots at the Star Wars fandom, I'm not saying sorry because
It's not
I
the
actually-
entire Star Wars
suck.
fandom. It's just with every fandom there's going to be some toxicity, and it's always those toxic ones that shine through.
Yeah, actually, after we're done with these podcast topics, I would like to open up those TikTok comments and shit on a few people.
let's do it. Hey, sign me up for that. I mean,
Uh,
my entire TikTok is me shitting on other people.
So before we go down some of the points, I would like to know your guys' opinions on the Obi-Wan show. What was your review, rating, and would you recommend kind of thing? So,
Help, you want to start, or
yeah,
Alex, do you want to start?
I can
helping us
start.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a really hard time trying to recommend Kenobi to somebody because I think the first 3 episodes felt like a slog to me. It felt like something I had to push through to get to what I enjoyed, and I know Kenobi was supposed to be like a slower show, and I love the show, but it's just hard for me to recommend based on my own experiences. I have no problems with it. It wasn't necessarily the style of show I would have preferred. 7 out of 10 still, though. Last 2 episodes save it so tremendously.
All right. So with me, I enjoyed it all the way through. I fucking loved it. I can't really explain why I loved it, but I think I just had time to enjoy it every week. I was just waiting for that next episode to come out. I think I enjoyed it more because I stayed away from social media while watching the show, like TikTok. I stayed away from Instagram. The only social media I really used during that time was Snapchat because at least there I wouldn't get people arguing and complaining about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
I actually think part of the reason I didn't like it was because it took me a really long time to warm up to Leia, but then I did, and I friggin' love her now. But it was hard to get there, and I know episode 1 would piss me off about Leia all over again.
We talked about that last time we talked about Kenobi, right, Rick? How
Yeah, we did.
a lot of people are bullying Leia, and it's just the Jake Lloyd situation all over again.
Which still pisses me off because, like,
Well-
I feel like I'm the only guy that did not. I mean,
I didn't mind
that's
Leia.
no. Me
I
neither, not
I
at
have
all.
no
I
problem with
actually really-
Leia's acting. I don't like her writing. I don't like the way she's written. In episode 1, most of all, I hate the way she's written. I do love the way she's written in, I think it's episode 4 where they're on the desert planet.
Which one? Desert Planet 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah.
The one where they're getting ferried by the mole guy.
Whichever fucking one that was.
3. No, was
Yeah.
it? No, when was?
But that was in episode 4, right?
Wait, the mole
Either
guy when they
3
got on
or
the
4. I can't exactly
transport.
remember.
I think it was 3 because then 4 Vader comes in and steamrolls Kenobi, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's when Leia is taken. Yeah, that was 4.
Yeah,
Mhm.
anyways, episode 3 was just kind of the first time Leia felt like a vulnerable child to me. The entire rest of the time, she seemed way too intelligent and intuitive for her age to like a bothering degree.
I mean, I can see that argument, but at the same time, I
These are also
mean,
children who are written by grown adults who don't really remember what it's like to actually be a child anymore.
I know,
It's a-
but
yep.
I've seen children well written in psychoanalyzing and tearing apart another child's life because he didn't say thank you to a droid is not something an 11-year-old should ever be capable of.
Fair, but it also depends on what kind of life you lived and how you were raised, that kind of thing. Because there are child
Very
prodigies, but he's not the chosen one, so
Yeah, and
Daughter of the chosen one.
presumably she lived a very sheltered life because you can tell her parents tried to give her a sheltered life.
well, I presume the sheltered life, but I also assume the best private tutors kind of thing as well.
Like top of the line education.
Because let's say
that type of thing.
Alderaan does have public schools and private schools, but if they keep Leia sheltered for her own safety, I would
I don't
assume
think Alderaan has much of anything anymore.
except for that
Good news
snarky
is
little
they're
wise ass cousin that I hope got blown up.
Well, he
the-
definitely did. He's a little
the
shit.
yeah, the shithead who she psychoanalyzed in episode 1.
Yep.
That was one big complaint I saw about that, where she essentially cut that kid's nuts off because, hey, we're Star Wars and we hate men.
Oh, don't worry. He'll get what's coming to him in about 9 years.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, if I had to rate it, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do see many of its flaws, but still, for my enjoyability rating, I'd have to give it an 8.
Nothing inherently wrong there.
For my critic side, I would have to give it probably a 6.5 or a 7.
Yeah, that's incredibly fair, actually.
I like it.
I enjoyed it so much. That's why I had to fucking break up my rankings. But
I can tell you the line where I actually stopped having to like push through it and started just like really being into it.
okay.
It was Leia asking Obi-Wan if he was her father, and he says, "I wish I were."
And
that's the line
many
that got me
people
pulled in.
didn't understand what that meant.
Which is fucking stupid, by the way.
That's not them saying like, "Hey, Obi-Wan wishes he banged Padme." That's not what that is. Like,
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, there was like, "I wish I was your father," and people are like, "Oh, so Obi-Wan wants to bang Padme." Like, that's not what that meant. Although I did see a funny TikTok like making fun of people like that. It was a guy who deep faked Obi-Wan's face and did his voice. And when that scene played, it just cut to him going, "Yeah, and Padme was pretty fine, right, Anakin?" But Rick, what was your rating?
Oh man, I hate being that guy, but I mean, like, I'm with you, Alex. As far as like an enjoyability rating, I'm gonna have to give it a 7 because anytime Reva was on the screen, I wanted to turn it off. It's just, we're gonna get to this later on in the episode.
Yes.
Reva is just such a poorly written character. And it's like, I don't know if I want to. I know what you're.
I'm
'Cause I
going
remember
to
from the
argue
last
that.
episode.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to argue now that more of the episodes have come out because we had just recorded up to episode 3. No, we had just recorded up to episode 3, right?
Somewhere around that
counterpoint.
ballpark, yeah. Go ahead.
If it takes over half of the series for a character's writing to start to come together and make sense, that is not a well-written character. It might be a good character, not a well-written character.
Okay, I'll let Rick finish before I go on my Reva tangent.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, I get where people, where you, Alex, and I get like where other people come from. Where that's kind of what an Inquisitor technically could be, where it's rash, impulsive, vengeful, and in some ways scared. But at the same time, and I think it was Anomaly Incorporated. I don't know if you guys follow Anomaly at all. Do you?
No.
Anomaly?
Okay, he's the guy who says he's a pissed off smiley face on the internet. He basically said that I think his argument somewhere went along the lines of, okay, why would you do all of these terrible things? You would cut a woman's hand off. You would torture a child. You would do A, B, C, D, whatever.
Well,
And,
if you
go ahead.
rewatched Leia's quote-unquote interrogation, she did try to appease to Leia's more childlike nature, and she only resorted to torture to the extreme last resort.
Okay, then I can take back my point somewhat.
That is true. And like I don't think Riva's actions conflict with her character. I just don't think she's a well done character. She's a stereotype drawn up to 100 and given a sad backstory.
Okay.
That's one way of putting it.
So,
but I'll finish my. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish up.
So I'll finish up. But as far as like an enjoyability standpoint, there was a lot that I enjoyed about the series. Hayden Christensen coming back, young Leia making people look stupid. I mean, I find humor in dumb things, and the kid did with what she was given. She did pretty good, making people look stupid and whatnot. You had Ewan McGregor back, and of course, the infamous "Hello there" at the end of the season. It's like everybody said it. He did the thing. And
except for Kelp's TikTok.
Oh my god! Holy shit! I'm still mad about. Like, I genuinely am still mad about that. By the way, I tried to make a jokey TikTok about Obi-Wan going "Hello there," and I needed like something to fill the space leading up to it.
Your mistake was putting it on the internet.
We decided to shit on the show a little bit, and everyone takes that as the main point because Star Wars fans are simultaneously the most defensive, most prideful people out there.
We'll get into that. But like I said, I mean, I think the final fight between Obi-Wan and Vader, in my book, that lived up to its expectations given the circumstances where he's still a bit rusty in the suit, but he's got enough vengeance left in him to fight. And then I'm sure we can talk about the conversation afterwards where he said, "I'm not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker.
Yes.
I did."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you didn't have to lay out the quote you didn't have to lay out the quote.
We were talking about Reva, and this meme popped in my head.
I'm looking at it right now. Now tell Reva she's the Grand Inquisitor. Rise, Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, it's the Impractical Jokers
Sith
meme.
Lords.
Yeah, it's the Impractical Jokers meme where they're talking to Vader in a headset saying, "Now tell Reva she's the Grand Inquisitor." And Vader goes, "Rise, Grand Inquisitor." It's just Reva with a giant ass smile on her face. And they're laughing in the background.
Yeah.
Hello.
But and like you said, for an enjoyability standpoint, I'd also give it an 8. Again, great series. I love Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. They absolutely killed it, but I'm sure, like with everything else, every series has its flaws, and sadly, Kenobi's no exception.
Yeah, so one of the things I saw a lot of people criticizing was Leia's kidnapping scene. How it looked like a Power Rangers flea scene, where she ran underneath the log and they didn't even try to go underneath the log or over the log.
I mean, I thought it was a little funny because it showed that the guy who was chasing her was an idiot. But
can I just say I love Flea's cameo in Kenobi? I was not expecting fucking Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers to be in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I did not know a cameo who that was.
I enjoyed.
I didn't realize that was a cameo until about a week after the show ended.
Yeah, Flea is the bassist for Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's one of my inspirations on why I play bass. Him and Paul McCartney.
Okay, I would like to say the forest chase scene, if you think goofy shit is not quintessential Star Wars and doesn't belong in Star Wars, you clearly don't know what you're watching.
Palpatine's return.
You don't know Star Wars in hindsight, I mean, right?
Yeah, like you clearly don't know Star Wars, Phantom Menace. An actual 9-year-old child takes out an entire battle station by doing spins. But no, the kind of goofy chase scene, that's where I draw the line.
I like spit, or no, I'll try spitting. That's a good trick.
Now this is pod racing. But can I just say I love it. Obi-Wan's like learning phase. So okay, this is not going where you guys are thinking it's going when I said learning phase. So Phantom
No,
Menace.
it's going where I know it's going.
So Phantom Menace, Darth Maul has the quote-unquote high ground above Obi-Wan.
Here we
Obi-Wan
go.
learns how to counter that. So when he does it against Anakin, Anakin cannot counter that. So in the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi, when Anakin has the quote-unquote high ground, Obi-Wan Kenobi has already been through this and knows how to counter it. Anakin still does not know.
He is the master of the high ground.
Okay, so I actually didn't know where you were going because I'm not going to lie. I don't like people trying to reason out the high ground line. It bugs me so much because I have no problem with the high ground line.
Yeah, I'm not trying to reason it. I'm just saying I think it's cool, the fucking progression, because people try to use the same move against Obi-Wan when it clearly doesn't work.
If you want to talk about progression shown with choreography, the scene between Obi-Wan and Maul in Rebels speaks so much more powerfully than if either of the characters had actually talked during that fight.
His Clone Wars stance moved to his New Hope stance, moved to Qui-Gon stance, psyching out Maul, able to beat him in like 2-3 moves because
two strikes. Maul does one attack, and Kenobi has him out in 2 strikes.
Yep.
That's also because one thing I noticed while watching the Rebels fight back in slow motion was that Maul went for the move that he used on Qui-Gon, where he like hit him in the face with the hilt of his saber. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I don't know the specifics of the move. He went to hit him in the face with the saber, and then Obi-Wan, like freaking lightning, dude, instantly counters that by doing the slice down the middle.
Yeah, because he's seen it before. He knows how to counter. That's why he psyched out Maul.
Yep.
Maul is a character, like, there's plenty of Star Wars characters who their fighting styles never grew. I'd even actually loop Vader into that category because his fighting style never grew. It changed when he had to change it because he had a new robotic body. But Maul's fighting style never changes, never grows throughout the entire series. Meanwhile, Kenobi, after like Revenge of the Sith, after the events of Obi-Wan Kenobi, was specifically like working on bettering himself.
Okay.
And if anything, I'd argue Maul's fighting style got worse.
Yeah, because it actually, like, I might be reading into this way too deeply. I actually almost definitely am. But, like, it goes to show how much less powerful than a Jedi, like, your average Sith would be, like, given time. Because fueled by, like, hatred and whatnot, the Sith don't ever really have to evolve their fighting styles. And they're just... Are they naturally more powerful than light side Jedi?
I mean, it depends on how like strong their emotions are.
Like unless you're Star Killer, then, because he started out as a Sith assassin, and then he just got more overpowered as the series went on. But that's probably because he used his hatred as a weapon, but he didn't let it consume him, towards the final stages of the Force Unleashed. If that makes any sense at all.
He used it as a weapon, as more of a point and shoot rather than point blank sword stab kind of thing. He didn't just go all out and like slice and dice, not caring what happens. He controlled it to a point where he was able to aim and shoot.
I don't know Starkiller through the Force Unleashed video game virtually at all. I know him through the book.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I do like the scene where they kind of pay homage to the Force Unleashed with Obi-Wan taking out the stormtroopers to free Leia. I think Rick, you might have caught that too. It was the scene
I did catch it. Yep.
Starkiller is training and he turns off his lightsabers to hide in the shadows and turns them on to attack and turns them off again.
Yep, from the Force Unleashed 2 trailer.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. Remember how Obi-Wan... I remember that episode very vividly because Obi-Wan gently scrapes the stormtroopers with his lightsaber so that it doesn't like actually cut all the way through them. And everyone complained for the rest of that week. Disney changed the way how lightsabers work. They're supposed to cut through everything. Pay attention to his slashes, man.
Exactly. Like, he's not like
Meant to.
again, with the Star Killer argument, in The Force Unleashed 2, for those of you who played it, you're literally cutting people up like left, right, and center. Whereas in the case of the Kenobi show, when he was being very methodical with his strikes, he's not trying to kill them. If anything, he's more trying to harm them enough to like knock them out, per se, or something like that,
More
or
of a
not do
stun.
any. Right, exactly.
Honestly, my thoughts on that scene were that, like, it wasn't that Obi-Wan was trying to avoid killing them, it was that he still wasn't confident in his lightsaber ability. If he kills the first guy by chopping him up into many, many pieces, the other guy is going to be immediately put on alarm and, like, trying to shoot into the darkness.
Yeah, well, this was also after the fact where Obi-Wan got decimated against those hot calls. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, he was going to be a little bit weary to begin with, but what are you going to
Wait till episode 6 and the plot armor kicks in.
do?
I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of the characters do suffer from prequel syndrome, where because they're not in the original trilogy or the sequels or any other of the shows that happen after the original trilogies, they're just dead. Kind of like with that one trick that Leia got the holster from.
Yep.
Like, you knew she wasn't going to survive. She's a main
No,
character.
yeah, no way.
Now, like, a main side character in the story. Yeah, she's dead. Reva didn't necessarily die. I don't know. She's a hermit somewhere. I don't care. But, like...
she's obsolete, or maybe she's dead.
Yeah.
Either or, I don't give two shits.
Real quick, there was a announcement made that Hayden Christensen will be making some sort of cameo in the Ahsoka show.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, hell yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Actually, can I talk about Reva's motivations in the last episode for a second? Okay. So, Reva's motivation in the last episode is never clearly shown to the audience. And best I can tell, it's, oh, I want to murder Vader's kid because he hurt me, he stabbed me, so now I'm gonna go kill his kid because I'm not strong enough to beat the big old bully.
Okay. All right.
The other argument I heard, and I got this from Anomaly, the only other argument I can see with her trying to kill Luke is I see her excuse could be I see Vader in him. I'm going to break the cycle. Wah.
Okay.
Oh god, here we go.
Here is my opinion and my outlook on it. Vader, of course, killed everyone she knows and cares for her youngling friends, her mentor, stabbed her thinking that Vader killed her. Of course, she's going to plan everything to get revenge on Vader, and when she can't do that, of course, she's going to go to the next best thing to hurt him, and obviously that would be his son. She doesn't know. Yeah. She doesn't know that Vader doesn't know that he has a son.
Yeah,
also,
so
bear this in mind.
In layman's terms, I can't beat the bully, time to go kill his kid.
There's more to it, but
same...
sure, if you want to be a usual TikToker, like the person who comments on your videos, then yes, go for it.
What I don't understand, though, and maybe I missed something, but how in the blue hell does she know that Luke is Vader's son?
Organa,
can someone explain that to me?
Organa pretty much says it during the video call. Like, Reva's not an idiot.
Because remember in episode 1 when she was talking to Owen, and Owen said that, you know, he has a kid and a wife? So when he saw the Bail Organa clip, I think Organa said, like, go find Owen, protect the kid.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
And this was after Obi-Wan spent so much time trying to save the Organa's adopted child that she kidnapped. Like, it legitimately, with the pieces of the puzzle Reva has, it's like a crossword that's 90% done.
Yeah, she's got the B, she's got the T, she's got the CH, all she needs is the I.
And that I falls inside of her character.
Although, like, I talked about this in the last episode, about how all the Inquisitors are calm and collected, which I don't really fucking
stupid.
like. And Reva is the only one that's rash and impulsive and using her negative emotions. Like, it's supposed to be out of fear of why they're in line and in order. And
Reva's just acting like a proper Inquisitor should, and the writing of the show is shitting on her for no reason.
Yeah, she's acting like she's using her negative emotions, and a lot of the Inquisitors stay in line because of Vader. Look at the second sister or the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah.
All of them
Because
just
they have
stay in
something
line
to
because
they have something to be afraid of.
they fear Vader. Reva just actively hates Vader, and no matter what chance she gets, she's going to attack him. So she doesn't matter if she steps out of line.
Yeah, by the way,
I mean,
Rick, you were wondering like why Reva would go from wanting revenge on Vader to doing all these like heinous things. Dark side corruption is just a very easy, simple answer to that question.
I can see that argument. Now that you
Palpatine,
mention that,
Sion, Treya.
that's true.
Anything. Bane, Nihilus.
It's literally name any Sith, and that's it. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm too far gone down the rabbit hole where it's like I'm just like, all right, fuck this character, and I've just had enough. But like I said, I can see the arguments there, but
like,
I'm just one of those. I'm just like,
I'm not saying your opinion is wrong. Like everyone on TikTok or YouTube will try to argue that your opinion is wrong and they're always right. That's what I kind of hate about this whole mob mentality thing. It's annoying to no end that people don't want to have a proper argument or debate. They just want to tell you that you are wrong, they are right. If you don't see what they do, they're going to try to make you see what they do. So stupid.
I passionately hate Reva, just like Rick. Just like listen to the amount of times I've supported your arguments because I understand her as a character. That doesn't mean I don't hate her.
Yeah, you could see both sides of the argument and still agree, but But if you just hear their side and just say, no, you're wrong, I'm right, that's not helping a debate. That's not going to help the other person see your side of the argument. That's just proving that you're not worth their time.
I think
most people on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, they always do that shit. It's not just with Star Wars. It's any form of media, music, movies.
Dude, on TikTok the other day, someone was talking about like something in Stranger Things. They were making a joke about something in Stranger Things. I made a stitch explaining like why that like actually happens in Stranger Things canonically. And someone comes to my comment section and says it's not that deep. It was a less than 30-second video, by the way.
I saw that, yeah. Just a little tangent. I don't like Stranger Things, and I hate it being force-fed in my mouth every second of every fucking day I open TikTok. I watched the first season. I thought it was good. I did not want a second season. I tried watching it, could not stomach it. This was not for me. And I didn't hear about it until season 4 came around. And then I got all the fucking memes, all the TikToks, all the YouTube recommended, all of the fucking recommended Instagram posts. I keep saying do not recommend, and it keeps getting force fed down my fucking throat, and now I just hate it.
At least you weren't. At least you didn't have to deal with Alexi's death in season 3.
I don't know who that is. I don't care.
My God, TikTok was just after he's just like some random side character, didn't even have that much going for him. He dies, and all of TikTok is like, oh, he was too pure, he was so good, he didn't deserve his death. I'm in actual tears over this for like genuine months.
You know what's funny is that now they're doing the same fucking thing, but with Eddie.
At least Eddie had proper screen time. At least Eddie looked like he was going to be indoctrinated into the main cast, but like also I don't understand why people are so broken up over Eddie. Every single season has that character that is introduced just to die.
If I have to see one more fucking goddamn Eddie cosplay on my fucking TikTok, I am going to throw my phone out the window.
They are everywhere. The only thing I can say though, because I'm one of those, I'm with you there, Alex. I was very iffy on Stranger Things. I watched the first season with my mom and dad. I liked it, and I'm one of the people. You can quote me on this now. I like 11 better with a shaved head. Just saying.
Okay, the first season of Stranger Things gave me a lot of like It vibes, like the group of misfits banding together. Except it took place in like a modern day setting, where instead of these outcasts just looking weird or being a different race or having a girl with short hair, these were actual fucking nerds, playing D&D in their basements, calling themselves the Beanbag Boys. Like, of course these kids are gonna be fucking bullied. That makes sense.
Right.
And then it just went off the fucking rails. Season 2, I could not stomach it. It was just it was no longer for me. I didn't want to
Right.
watch
Because
it. I didn't.
So-
I didn't bother anyone who wanted to watch it. If they had their own opinions of the shows, they can like shows I didn't. I didn't like. Like it's all right. Like they like Stranger Things. I liked watching Arrow. People didn't like Arrow at that time. It's okay.
Constantine too.
Constantine too. But like people,
I have to say, for Stranger Things at least, I've never particularly cared about the story. It's interesting. I have no problems with it, but I've never particularly cared about it. The draw to Stranger Things for me is how tremendously good the character writing is for every character but Will.
I mean, I don't know if we're flying way too off the rails here,
Yeah, I
going
really
off
don't.
about
that's
Stranger
true.
Things. We should really save that for another
you guys can
episode.
do that podcast without me. I'll just be complaining the entire time.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want you in a Stranger Things episode.
All right.
Well-
So, what did you guys think of the actual cameos that we did get? And I was about to say Stranger Things again. God fucking damn it. What did you guys think of the cameos we did get in Kenobi? Like the clone trooper begging for money, the actors reprising their roles for Bail Organa, Owen, Beru, Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon.
I'll go first there.
I could be so very wrong on this, but I didn't think that was like how Qui-Gon's Force ghost form, whatever he did after he died, worked, and that rubbed me the wrong way. But I haven't seen any Star Wars nerds angrily screaming about it, so I've been kind of silent about that.
I mean, Qui-Gon's Force
There's nothing inherently wrong there.
Did show up in Clone Wars.
Yeah, as the balls of light, right?
No, like his Force Ghost actually did show up, like full animation.
That
Okay.
wasn't when they were on Mortis, I don't think, right? It showed up to Yoda.
I think it did
Right?
show. Yeah, it showed up to Yoda when he was on his trip. And when
Yeah.
he met not Cad Bane, Darth Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was I think that episode, and that's why Yoda told Obi-Wan that he'll help him talk with his master, kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I gotta be honest, the only cameo I actually even noticed was a cameo was the clone trooper begging for money, and I actually thought that was really cool, but I didn't notice any of the others were cameos. I just saw them as the characters.
I loved that cameo because it wasn't like force-fed to you. It's like, hey, this is what happened to the clones. It tells you what happened to the clones in such a short scene. And people were complaining. It was like, oh, it's not Cody. It's not Cody. This show sucks. It's not Cody. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you complaining?
Because again, these modern Star Wars, or it's either old or new, or a disturbing combination of both. The Star Wars fans gotta always find something to complain about. Like my reaction to the clone trooper begging for money, it genuinely made me sad because in hindsight, when you think about what Captain Rex and the clones were talking about in which episode, I can't exactly remember, but it's like, what are we gonna do when the war's over? I don't know. War is all I know, and that's what happens to the clones, and it really makes me sad.
It really paints a picture too, because you guys remember Cut, right? From the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch series.
Oh yeah,
Juan,
remember? Right? He was the one that had married with the kids in the Clone Wars when they met him as a deserter. That was a real like existential episode for Rex and all the clones involved in that episode. Because it really
I think that was the same episode.
It really did paint a fucking picture about how expendable these clones are and how they do have free will, but they're conditioned to stay within this war.
Yeah.
It's just
because it's all they know in life, and that's fucking scary.
They also poke at that a lot in the Bad Batch, where when they figure out about the inhibitor chips, they poke at that in like programming quite a bit in the Bad Batch. Like the clones really have no genuine free will.
I like the scene in the last season of Clone Wars where Rex is talking to Ahsoka on the Venator, and Rex was like, fuck, I forgot what the exact quote was, but it was like, I don't know. It was something about like, I don't know if I regret being in this war or something like that, but I'm glad this war happened because I got to meet you, kind of thing.
Oh, I love those moments.
Oh yeah.
Like from the beginning to end of Clone Wars, like these characters, Rex and Ahsoka, have been there. That was like the first ever Clone Wars movie that came out, the animated one
Yeah, you're right.
with Stinky
I
the Hutt.
honestly, I feel like Clone Wars has the most powerful versions of like Star Wars characters that ever show up across any series. Like,
Right.
I feel like
Yeah.
Clone Wars Kenobi is so much more powerful as a character than the Obi-Wan Kenobi show Kenobi.
Well, it's also you have to take into account limitations with live action and animation because you're able to
Also,
do
I
a lot
guess
more with
in-
animation. But yeah, I
No, but
that's from a
I'm
practical
talking of
standpoint and
writing
real
wise.
world. Yeah, no, writing wise standpoint. I was thinking more real world standpoint.
No,
And
I'm
in the
talking
context, Go
writing
ahead.
wise, where animated Star Wars shows, writing wise, just seem to have the most powerful characters, where live action shows, any live action Star Wars piece of media, actually, the characters like feel muted compared to the plot, is how I think I would describe it.
Yeah, because
I
I
guess
feel like Dave
yeah.
Filoni does put more of his time because Dave Filoni started with the Clone Wars series and the movie.
Mhm.
So his
Yep.
writing has always been a focus on those animated shows. And the reason Mandalorian was so good because it was fucking Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau always directs and writes pretty well. I mean, he did the
The
first
guy
Iron
just has
Man.
the guy is a phenomenal talent. And I guess an argument I could make for why all the characters in the Clone Wars and so on are so like I guess at the top of their level is because that in the context of Star Wars, and this is the way I look at it, they're at their prime in life. I guess their
Mhm.
prime in battle and so on. So in my brain, with the way I look at characters and the way I look at fictional media, in this case Star Wars, Clone Wars, they are at their prime. They're they're unchained essentially, right? They have no limits because they're at war. Whereas like in Revenge of the Sith, the way I think about it, okay, the war is kind of winding down. They want to be a little bit careful. They're kind of past their apex just a little bit, but they still have somewhat of an edge, if that makes
But
any
like,
sense at all.
what I'm saying is the characters in the animated series feel vibrant, alive. The characters in the live action series feel
Oh,
muted. They feel dull in comparison to anything that's actually going on around them.
Yeah, I
mhm.
guess because like I'm thinking about this from more of a production standpoint rather than in canon universe standpoint. Because with an animated show, normally a season is like 20 plus episodes.
Yeah.
With these high budget live action shows that Disney Plus has been putting out, I've noticed there's been a lot of emphasis on quality rather than actual like quality of picture rather than quality of writing. And I feel like they just, I don't know, with the animated shows, I feel like they've been putting a lot more emphasis on the writing because they have more time with these characters to flesh them out
Mhm.
because of
Yep.
the length of the series and the episodes they have with it and more to do with it. With the
Mhm.
live
Yeah, but
action, they just don't have as many episodes, but that really shouldn't be a case in an argument because whether a season is 20 episodes or 6 episodes, the writing should be good nonetheless, right?
Yep.
yeah, and like, can you guys agree with me that compared to Clone Wars, Kenobi feels dry in his own show? Like, is that just a me thing, or is that something
I
you
mean,
guys can get
I can
behind?
see where you're going
I
with that,
I can too,
but
and the way I canonize it in my head, the head canon for me is that it's a transition between two different characters. Because Clone
Mhm.
Wars Kenobi is more of a war-torn general, while Obi-Wan Kenobi is more of that transition phase into the person he's turning into in A New Hope.
Yeah,
Yep.
I understand on some level it's intentional. Like, at this point in the story, Kenobi himself is transitioning into like a much wiser person, and he's also a really beaten down, saddened person at this point in the story.
He's got to heal from his old both emotional and physical wounds, and that's where
Yeah,
towards the like in the middle, and then to the end of Kenobi, he slowly transitions from being Obi-Wan Kenobi, the general and the hero of the Clone Wars, and essentially a broken man. He transitions into Ben Kenobi, where he becomes like basically
yeah,
like the wise Jedi Master, like Yoda in a sense.
I like that. I do understand that it's intentional on some level, and that's why. But like I've seen the transition from like your prime to a broken down old character before, and it has held my interest very greatly before. In this show, Kenobi just never felt like himself to me, and not in a sense where like he didn't feel like a Clone Wars character. Like it didn't feel like there was necessarily a whole character present the entire time.
Um, I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but the way I interpret that, your point in my head was more of a trauma-based thing. Because let's say you're connected with
I
this
can sort
kid.
of see that there, yeah.
Yeah, let's say you're connected with this kid from 9 years old. You train him all the way into his mid-20s, and then you're forced to kill him. This person you've been with for close to 2 decades, and you have to kill him because of what he's becoming. You would change as a person almost indefinitely.
Like if it were me, like I'd be like emotionally numb. Like I don't know if I could ever like really talk to people
And that's
after
how
that.
I
And that's
feel.
coming from me.
Yeah, that's how I feel Obi-Wan is kind of presented, how he's afraid to kind of leave his post with Luke because
Mhm.
he has some semblance of comfort and luxury with a set schedule, a set time. He gets up, he goes to work, he takes rations for himself and his like pet like camel
And
space camel
it's
thing.
very clearly shown with that Jawa interaction. He's also come to like understand very clearly what he's doing and how Tatooine works.
Yeah, he's focusing on stuff he can't control and pushing stuff out of his head that he can't, which is why when Bail Organa calls, he's like hella and like just undecisive and just hesitant with anything having to do with him leaving Tatooine.
Yeah.
Don't you also want to like attribute like the way Kenobi acts in the show to also just being like he wants to isolate himself from other people so that he doesn't it's in a way you could sort of link it to the whole like Jedi attachments thing. He doesn't want to like get close to anybody like how he was to Anakin again, because maybe in his head he's afraid that this could happen all over again, where I lose someone that I care about,
Well,
and it's going to be a shit show per se.
yeah,
It's
but
I mean, yeah.
it wasn't just Anakin because before Anakin, it was Sabine.
Mm-hmm.
No, was it no, not Sabine.
No, it was
Satine.
Duchess Satine,
Duchess Satine. Before it was Duchess Satine before Anakin, and
and then Qui
before
Gon too.
before Satine it was Qui-Gon. Like you see, Obi-Wan sees what happens when he gets close to someone. Like it's just nothing good comes of it, and I could definitely see that with Leia. He's short with his responses. He wants to get off the planet as soon as possible and drop her off at the nearest fucking street sign he could find her.
Yeah,
Like
as fucked up as that is, it does make sense.
yeah, he just doesn't want to be responsible for her because he knows that if he gets close to this child and if this child keeps poking and prodding with these questions, he's eventually going to have to give her something. And as soon as he opens those gates to give her something, the whole flood is going to come through, which is what we see
Yep.
when we're on that carrier like ship thingy going on that sand planet when she starts asking personal questions like, "Are you my real father?" kind of thing.
Real quick before I forget, I absolutely love the validity this series gives to that line from Leia in Empire Strikes Back where she's like, on some level I feel like I've always known. Like outside of Force shenanigans, this series gives that a whole lot of validity.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I
name
get
of the game, name of the game, pretty much.
All right, to stray away, we're gonna start with the last point real quick. A lot of people, I've seen a couple people on TikTok, not really a lot of people, but a couple people on TikTok have been complaining about Hayden Christensen's screen time in Kenobi. How he's in
Oh, boy.
all of the promotional material, all of the interviews, and he only shows up in a flashback scene and Vader like a handful of times for a couple minutes. How do you guys feel about Hayden's...
How often exactly were they expecting Vader to be outside of his suit?
That's you're not wrong there.
Although I
unless
do
they
have
were
to
expecting
say,
like, I guess unless they were expecting full on freaking flashbacks with Hayden as Anakin Skywalker before he became Darth Vader, or even during his time as Darth Vader slaughtering people in the temple. I don't really see like what people were expecting. I mean, me in my head, I was sort of kind of thinking, okay, maybe they're just gonna have him like outside the suit, like maybe you'll see Vader with his helmet off, and he'll like start crying in his cryo chamber, not cryo, his like meditation chamber. That's the word I'm looking for. Like you'll see him just like break down and just start like all the emotions will spill out. Like you see his regret over killing Padme, losing his friends. Like he cracks.
I don't
But
think he'd cry. I think he'd more go into a fit of rage. That's more
Yeah.
fitting of his character.
That's
Is
true,
more
yeah.
when he thinks about it, he goes into a psychotic rage rather than a full-on
Mhm.
breakdown cry.
I've seen like the meme, like the not meme, the picture of like Vader with like he's just sitting there and he's just got his hand over his face and it looks like there's just pictures behind him of all of his friends. Like there's Padme, Obi-Wan, what have
Ahsoka,
you, right?
Rex, yeah.
Yep. And it looked like there was like a tear coming down his eye, but I could be wrong there. That's kind of what I was thinking. But now that you guys mentioned that he'd get just progressively more pissed off thinking about his life before Vader, because again, they're like, you may as well look at them as two completely different people. That was what part of me, that was what I was expecting when I heard Aiden Christensen come back. But with what they gave me, I wasn't too mad about it.
Personally, when I heard Hayden Christensen was coming back, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's someone familiar in the Darth Vader suit. Maybe there will even be a helmet off scene." So I got exactly what I expected.
I do like the fact that when you say Hayden Christensen is in the Darth Vader suit, you start looking at Vader's movements more closely, and you can definitely see Hayden Christensen in that suit just based on his movements alone. Like when he goes to Riva in the what was the giant tower thing in the I forgot what it was called.
Fortress Inquisitus.
Yeah, the Fortress Inquisitus.
Yeah.
When Vader fucking barges in, stomping around, and just immediately lifts his hand up to choke Riva. Like you could tell Hayden
Yeah.
Christensen is having a blast in that suit.
That was definitely Hayden. I guarantee you, he had a big shit-eating grin on his face when he was under the mask. Like,
Yeah.
and that's my argument. I made this in the last episode of the podcast. Protect Hayden Christensen at all costs.
I
all the people.
I really just genuinely don't understand like how people could be upset by not seeing much of Hayden Christensen, because it's like, sure, you could go in expecting to see a lot of him, but like you have to understand that this is Darth Vader with the Darth Vader suit. Even if you don't get to see a lot of him, you shouldn't immediately jump to hating on it. Like you should be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. That's Hayden Christensen in the Darth Vader suit."
Yeah, like when people keep saying it's like, "Oh, I wish we got more flashbacks." Like I think what we got was perfect. Like just good, because if you really think about it, on set when Obi-Wan is fighting Darth Vader and having dialogue with Darth Vader, he's talking to Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Like the voice, I forgot.
James Earl Jones.
Yeah, like he's not hearing James Earl Jones. He's hearing Hayden Christensen deliver these lines. Someone who he's worked with in the past with Revenge of the Sith and has been through this before. Like it's the same thing back in A New Hope, how they were hearing the original body double for Vader in the suit.
It was David
for
Prowse or whatever.
Yeah,
I forgot the guy's name. David Prowse, I think, was his name.
The guy from Clockwork Orange. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Now that you mentioned, yeah, you go first, Kelp.
Okay. I'm just gonna say this one thing. The Star Wars fan base cares about getting what they want and nothing beyond that.
Well, Alex, before you go on this line, now that you mentioned that Hayden's in the suit delivering the lines, now that makes Ewan McGregor's emotions as Kenobi in the final battle. In hindsight, that makes it so much better because it's almost like it's reminding him of Anakin in ways. Like he can hear Anakin's voice, and that's where it would pain him to hear it. Now that you mention that just makes it so much better.
Kelp.
Yeah.
On your point, that's what I wanted to talk about this before the podcast, but I realized it'd be much better to say it with the podcast. With movies and TV shows nowadays, when it has to do with a big established franchise, we sadly live in an era of, I say, post Avengers Endgame cinema, where there's always a constant cameo, there's always a constant Easter egg or nod or reference to something new that's coming, or there's always a callback that's just right in your face. There's always some kind of fan service there. And just because a new show that from a big franchise like DC, I know DC has done this a lot, trying to capitalize on what the MCU is doing, and it's not working for them. So just they're finding their footing with their solo movies, which is good. But with
Fire Amber Heard.
but with like with Star Wars, like people are shitting on Kenobi because of the lack of like fan service and shit because of what they want and what they expect. It's just complete bullshit because people have just been craving fan service because all they've been established to, or all they've been what's the word?
Trained.
No, what they've been exposed to has just been MCU shows and movies since December past Endgame. Spider-Man No Way Home, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
It's like
everything, including the kitchen sink, pretty much.
It's literally as simple, though, as watching a show, not getting a cameo, and not having a violent anger reaction towards it. Yeah. It's literally that simple.
Like, if it doesn't make sense for that character not to be there, then you shouldn't get mad that the character wasn't there. Okay, so one of the not really post-credit scenes, but one of the ending scenes I thought I would have wanted was a flash forward to that Rebel scene in live action, where it's just Obi-Wan Kenobi by the fire, and we don't see Maul, but we see the shadow of Maul looming over Obi-Wan Kenobi. We just hear Sam Witwer's voice.
You were telling me about that. Yeah,
it's just Sam Witwer's voice going...
That's actually so that was one of the things I actually was hoping I would get to see in the Kenobi series, a live action version of the Kenobi versus Maul final fight. Yeah, because when you think about it, when you think about it, the Kenobi series is where it deserves to be.
Yeah, but again, it'd just be another scene that we've already seen in animation, and I get not wanting to redo a scene like that, which is why the Kenobi show didn't go with a Clone Wars flashback. It went to pre-Attack of the Clones flashback.
I also get not wanting to do a scene like that, but in my opinion, putting that scene inside a Kenobi is doing more justice for the characters themselves and the stories they have than it would for the audience.
It's in hindsight, yeah. Because you're making the fans appreciate it more, you know?
It's something to do out of respect for the universe rather than because the fans would enjoy it.
Because if you go into Obi-Wan Kenobi, before you go into Obi-Wan Kenobi and you ask someone who's watched Clone Wars and Rebels, who is Obi-Wan Kenobi's biggest foe? 9 times out of 10 people are going to say Maul.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't think Maul definitely would have broke canon with this. But if they did do a flash forward of that kind of thing, then
people would have lost their shit.
Yeah, but again, with that positive, there's always going to be that negative, and people are going to complain that's something you've already seen before. It's nothing new, which is why I understand why they did the Liam Neeson cameo. And can I say real quick that Liam Neeson did an interview where he said he didn't want anyone else playing Qui-Gon, so he signed up to do it.
That's amazing.
That's Liam Neeson.
Yeah, they told Liam that they were going to do the Qui-Gon thing at the end of the series, and if he was interested or not. He goes, well, I'm not going to let someone else play it.
Honestly, though, that's exactly what I would be like, though. If I had a Star Wars character, that Star Wars character is going to be locked down as mine. No one else is allowed to play him in live action.
What if...
Exactly.
All right. Kelp, let me give you a hypothetical. Sure. Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau or even George Lucas himself shoots you an email saying that, hey, we have a new role for a Gungan series. We want you to be the body double for Jar Jar Binks. What you do?
I gladly accept, because I've come to a point where I enjoy Jar Jar beyond the meme. That's how much that irony has affected my life.
Oh yeah, no,
I enjoy Jar Jar beyond the meme.
Okay, so I recently gathered the clips from the live stream we did together on the Lego Star Wars thing, and there are so many one of the best quotes I've ever gotten from you is
Jar Jar is the perfect background character?
No, one of the quotes I got from you was like, if Jar Jar told me to come here, I would lick my lips, grab the fuzzy handcuffs, and say, yes, daddy.
What?
That is your quote about Jar Jar Binks.
Were you drunk? My God, no. I definitely wasn't drunk. I don't even think I was high that night.
You were probably slap happy then. That's all I can really assume.
Oh my God! I can't believe I said that.
I was running through. I was running through the Gungan area in the underground of, like, the water area of Naboo, and there was some dialogue. It was like "Uba Liba Bungo," and I was like, "Follow Jar Jar," and you'd be like, "Yeah, I'd follow Jar Jar." Grab the fuzzy handcuffs, lip my lips, and go, "All right, Daddy," or like something like that.
Something
Oh my
fruity.
God.
Yeah,
Well,
When you brought up Liam Neeson, I just had this is kind of off the rails just a little bit, but all I thought of when the idea of someone else playing Qui-Gon Jinn, he just calls Lucasfilm. It'll be like, I have a particular set of skills. Just the
yeah,
line from Taken. If you
yeah. Liam Neeson
well,
knows how to
how
get
would
an
I do this?
appendectomy.
How would I do? How would he do the line? If you get somebody else to play Qui-Gon Jinn, I
I
will
will
find
find
you
you, and I will
if
kill
and I
I
you.
will kill you.
dipped,
Another quote that I got from you, Kelp, from the Lego Star Wars game.
yeah,
It was we had just gotten to Naboo after the there's always a bigger fish line. And Obi-Wan had a like claw grip on Jar Jar's mouth, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I want that," or something like that. I can't remember, but you
Dude,
said
what is up
some
with you and
weird
all this?
fucking shit with Jar Jar.
He likes Jar Jar just a little too much.
You also said Jar Jar would be TikTok famous.
Jar Jar would be TikTok
He
famous. Don't even
totally
come
would be
at me
TikTok
with that.
famous. He'd be more famous than freaking Carly D, whatever the hell her name is, Charlie D'Amelio,
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
whatever the hell.
Bella
However you
Porsche.
say
that's
her
not
name.
a hot take. That is
Yeah.
a correct take. Jar Jar would be TikTok famous.
All right,
Because
so
everybody, I feel like not only would people like take the piss out of him, people would genuinely enjoy him. Unless like I got that flip.
in that live stream, me and Kelp also would love to pitch a Gungan series, but Jar Jar can only be a background character
Yeah.
because we think Jar Jar is just the perfect background character.
Jar Jar literally
But
is
you guys
actually
are not
just
wrong
the
there,
perfect background character.
He'll be doing something fucking random as shit in the background, and people will be more invested in that than the shitty writing the show has.
Yeah, no,
no doubt
because
about that.
hear me out. That's why he would be TikTok famous. You get to experience him as you would a background character, where you open the app, you like a Jar Jar video, you close the app. He's a background character to your life.
It's like, can you imagine Jar Jar Binks going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, do like that kind of shit?
Could you imagine Jar Jar doing the lip sync with "Fuck You" and your mom or whatever that song is?
Fuck
Can you imagine him
and your
doing the
mom,
Renegade?
your sister, and your dog.
The Jar Jar Binks doing the Renegade, dude.
I could just
Oh my
imagine.
God.
Go figure. Me saying this because I'm on a massive stain kick. I could picture Jar Jar Binks singing "Mud Shovel," talking about like how awful he feels about his girl cheating on him, and just be like, "You take away," and then instantly go to the heavy bit where he's like screaming "Mud Shovel" into the microphone.
You know that trend where it's just like the block of text where it's like would you do you prefer like Monster or Red Bull? Personally, I some heavy shit and then it ends with I like Red Bull. Imagine Jar Jar making one of those videos.
He likes scuba fish. Last topic. Anyone want to talk about a last topic?
No, there are no more topics. We covered them all. This is the end of the podcast forever. No, end of the podcast forever. We only talk about Jar Jar now. This is a Jar Jar love
cast.
account.
This is the Uber
The
Libre
Jar
Bongo
Jar.
cast. So we never got to do the what if you were like. All right, so last podcast with Rick, we assigned each other Jedi and Sith. I think Rick, you were Gray Jedi or Sith. I was Sith,
I was Gray Jedi. Yeah.
and I think Gamer was either Jedi or Dark Jedi or something like that.
I'm more or less
I-
all just like a Sith assassin,
Yeah.
borderline Gray Jedi, to be honest.
I for sure would be a Dark Jedi. Like, I don't want to be entirely on the Sith spectrum, but I want to be on that emotional spectrum of the Force.
Because we were talking about like how I wouldn't be like a pursuit of power Sith. I would be like studying the Sith abilities, kind of like that. And Gamer
Oh,
brought
so
up,
you'd be a Palpatine.
no, not Palpatine would be like pure evil. He thought of Darth Vectivus.
Because that Darth Vectivus was the one who he delved in the dark side, but he only wished to study it. He didn't want to use the dark side for power.
What about Darth M something, the guy who helped Vader raise his castle?
God, what was that guy's name? But
was
didn't he
thinking,
like also didn't he also possess people?
Through a mask, but that's because he was dead.
okay, this is legit the last thing I want to talk about. Remember when Obi-Wan was walking through the I forgot the name of the tower again. Fucking
Tower
Fallen-
Fortress
whatever it is.
Inquisitus.
the Fortress Inquisitus. When he was walking past all the Ember Jedi, someone did a deep dive into who those could be. One was a youngling.
Oh, yep.
One was a Jedi Master,
Mhm.
and one was fucking Seer from the Fallen Order.
No.
Oh God, I remember that. Oh shit,
What?
That blew. 'Cause
that's
one was
jacked up.
one was one of the younglings. I think someone said that it could have been the youngling that said Master Skywalker, but I mean, Hayden Christensen already proved that that kid died. Because
So, wait.
the original kid went up to Hayden Christensen and said the line. He's like, "Oh, you survived."
So
Mhm.
wait, when Star Wars Jedi Last Survivor comes out, Seer will be dead.
Or just not even appear at all.
She'll be stuck in one of the things, you know.
Because someone did a deep dive into who those characters could be, and someone thought that it could be Seer based on the haircut and the actress portraying it. I don't
Son
think
of a
that
gun.
was,
I am literally looking this up right
and
now.
one was one of the original kids in the room with the kid who said Master Skywalker, and one was some other Jedi. I can't remember what it was, but someone is dead set on that that's Seer.
It wouldn't surprise me
if that
it
is
was.
Seer, that is insane. All right, nighty night peeps.
All right, any closing remarks?
Star Wars,
Hey, Star Hornks.
Storm Wars.
All right, this has been the Sourcewell podcast. We'll see you guys next episode.